Hello and welcome to Wicklow Good News with me, Gillian Gotzel. Today my guest is Colin Tyner, a farmer from Minmore in Shillelagh, who's producing a rather unusual crop this summer. Good morning, Colin, and welcome to the show.
Morning.
So what is this crop that you're growing?
Well, we're growing sunflowers. And you asked me why. The reason why is we're a beef and sheep farm here in Shillelagh, and last year there was a scheme to compensate farmers for the bad beef price, and part of that scheme meant we had to lose 5% of our animals. So that meant I had extra grass that I didn't need, and there's a particular field that we said, right, why not grow something unusual? We didn't want to go into cereals because there's even less money in that as far as I can see. And we said, I always loved the sunflowers from visiting France from years ago. We always stopped on our travels and we'd see a huge field of sunflowers and they look absolutely fantastic. And so we tried them. So we sowed them and here we are.
Wow. So I was going to ask you, what was in the field before? It was a grass field before. Is the field is it south facing? Is it a nice sunny field?
Yeah, it's a lovely, ideal situation for sunflowers. It has sun from first thing in the morning to last thing at night. It's
Wow.
Ideal, southeast facing field. We sowed them on the 2nd of May. Now,
That's very fast, isn't it? It's a fast growing.
It is. They grow like steam. It's unbelievable how they grow. We sowed them then, and I didn't tell anybody because I had no idea that they were going to grow. First of all, I just said.
So your neighbours had no idea this. You could have been growing like some naughty weed or something like that.
Well, I'm sure rumours like that probably did go around, but no, it wasn't anything like that. No. So we sowed them, and we had an awful job keeping crows and pigeons away because they love that seed, obviously.
Well, the sunflower seed. So I'm going to ask you: did you have to prepare the ground? We just
ploughed it and direct drilled it in with a corn drill that was modified more or less. You can't sow at the same density as barley or wheat, but you block you just sow in every fourth row so that they're widely spaced, and it worked ideally.
And where did you buy the seeds?
That was my biggest problem, actually, sourcing the seed, because nobody stocks them here. But there's a chap I met through Twitter called Dermot Campion, who works for Germinal Seeds down in Tipperary, and he sourced them from me and got them quite quickly from England. They import seeds of all sorts anyway, and he was only for him now. I'd have trouble getting them. I would really have trouble.
So you planted them in this lovely south-facing field, and they grew like billio. And when your neighbours were having, I'm sure, lots of conversations saying, what are those Tyners growing in that field?
Absolutely.
And how soon are they going to come to flower? Are they nearly there?
Well, I thought they would be in bloom at the moment, but they keep putting it off, and you just can't hurry nature. They will bloom when they're good and ready and not a minute sooner. There are 2 or 3 blooms there now, but if people want to see more blooms, they may leave it for a few days. Just keep an eye out on Instagram or Facebook, and the Instagram. Instagram, if you put Minmore sunflower field into the Instagram, they'll see updated pictures of when they're out. Now they will, once they start blooming, they will be in bloom for about 3 weeks.
Oh, good. It's a good period.
Or maybe even more. I don't really know, but they keep on growing. They're nearly 6 foot tall. They're over 5 foot tall at the moment. So you nearly get lost in the field at the moment.
And then if people want to come, is there parking nearby? Because you're on a farm. It's not a...
Yeah, there is a small parking area at the main gate on the road. But if traffic gets too much, we have a field right next door with no ditch between or anything like that. There's just a stream dividing it, and we can park them in that. If we get big numbers, we can park them in there.
And do people have to book to come in, or do they just rock up?
No, just rock up. We're going to have I skipped a bit of the story there. When they started growing, we said, they're growing well now and they're going to bloom, so we might as well tell someone about it. The original reason we put them in there too was we have 2 holiday cottages, and we thought it would be lovely for people in the holiday cottages to wake up in August and look out on a field of sunflowers. And we said, well, that could be something extra. But then when we saw them growing, and we knew definitely there were going to be some blooms, we said, why not use the occasion to make some money for the Wicklow Hospice and for Irish Cancer Society? And then I rang Sinead in the Wicklow Hospice, and it's just grown legs since then. And my daughter Sophie put it up on social media, on Instagram, and it's just taken off. And here I am talking to you, which I didn't.
Everybody's talking about it.
Everyone's talking about it. Yeah, well, it's starting to freak me out a little bit now. But anyway.
So how do people then, so the charities for the hospice and for cancer services, how do people, what do they do? They come up, they look at the blooms. Do they take selfies? Do they cut the flowers? What do they do?
Exactly. If my calculations are right, there should be in the region of 200,000 blooms in the field. So,
whoa!
If
There's
people want to take
everyone in the audience.
Yeah, exactly. If people want to take half a dozen blooms home, that's fine. There's no problem. I don't want people arriving and taking carloads of it and trailer loads of it, but like take enough for your own use and then donate to these two worthy causes, the Wicklow Hospice and the Irish Cancer Society, and take selfies and have a picnic. You can bring your painting easel and paint pictures, any of that sort of thing, no problem. And we have a path sort of trimmed all the way around, so you can walk all the way around the sunflowers. It's 3.5 acres, so it's a decent, 3/4 of a mile around, I suppose. You can have a nice trip around it, and then take your donate. We have honesty boxes there. Donate into the boxes and take your few sunflowers home if you want.
That's an amazing idea. It's caused such a ruckus in the area.
Well,
the sunflowers, it's very exciting.
Well, I hope it is. I hope it turns out as nice as I think it's going to be. So we'll see. We'll see.
And just out of curiosity, I mean, it's a great idea. I mean, I love your progression. So you kind of thought you had to go to some animals. You had the size field. What would you do with it? And then the sunflowers, which is sort of an interesting idea. And then you thought, oh well, let's maybe do some good. Let's look at the charity. And did COVID influence you in any way? Do you think?
Well, COVID was already here, but when we sowed them, that was in May. It took me. COVID had just started when we were planning to sow them. But none of this, we had no idea that we were going to do this cancer fund at that stage. We didn't envisage people coming to sort of come and trim them. But we are where we are, and like we expect people to socially distance, and it's in a 3-acre field, so like and you're allowed a certain number of people, aren't you, out in the open to be walking around. So it's not. I will ask people to bring, if they want to cut their sunflowers, bring their own scissors or knife or whatever, because we can't supply those there because of COVID. Yeah. And so it should be safe.
That's a good point, because they're fixed stems. You don't want to just snap one. You'd need a cutting instrument.
Yeah, I don't think they're easy to break like that, and you damage them more. And I thought, originally I thought people could walk through the crop as well, but they are so thick that you would nearly get lost in them, and you would damage a lot of them by walking through it. So we're going to limit people to walking around the edges, and they can walk in where there are gaps and pick their flowers as they want them.
What will happen? I know I'm asking you because you probably don't know the answer, but let's just say after the blooming or towards the end of the blooming, if there's still many flowers, do you have any plans of what you might do then?
The trouble with sunflowers in Ireland, and the reason that that nobody actually grows them, anybody that has grown them, I think there was some in Coolboy last year, as far as I know, someone grew them, but they were left there purely for the birds and the bees. Now, if these are commercial sunflowers and they are grown normally for seed and oil, the trouble is when they are ripe to cut, it's the end of September, early October, and Ireland doesn't normally get decent harvesting weather in that. So if the weather turns okay for harvesting and they're dry enough, we will harvest whatever is left. But there's a 10% chance of that happening, really. I think there's 90% chance that they will be left there for the birds for the winter.
So really, well, and you're doing good for the bees at the moment. It certainly is a bee-friendly field.
Yeah.
They're called bee bombs, aren't they, sometimes, because they've got so much pollen. So we're going to hope then that maybe that people take them all away. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Well, if there's enough people to take them all away, that's fine.
100,000 blooms. It's a lot of blooms.
That's a lot of people, though. That's a lot of people.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So again, if people want to find the information, it's on Instagram, and it's Minmore Sunflowers Shillelagh.
Minmore Sunflower Field. If you put that into Instagram, I also have a Twitter page. It's just at Colin4761, and I'll put updates on it. We have a cottage website, that's minmore.ie as well, if people want to check out that. And then on your Wicklow News, I think there's updates on it as well. And then if you check out the Wicklow Hospice website, I'm sure there are updates on it as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm only down the road, so I'm going to take a scoot up there as soon as the flowers come out. Bring some home.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right. Thank you very much for having us on, and we look forward to seeing loads of people and loads of sunshine.
Yeah, loads of sunshine. That's the important thing. Well, thank you very much. It's Colin Tyner, farmer in Minmore, Shillelagh, with his wonderful sunflower field. And thank you to Marlena Murphy for producing and Gavin Dowd on sound. And until next time, be good, be safe, and keep on helping others.